Alrighty, so in the previous lessons, we've looked at what is Psych, IVs and DVs, and now we're looking at drawing conclusions. And as funny as it may seem, this is something that a lot of students struggle with, even after a year or two in the course. And so a question here is, this is a wordy key question, I get that, but really we're looking at understanding the connection between variables and how that relates to a conclusion. Quick recap question, I get students in pairs. And they start off with the green, right? Can we answer that? Are we cool with that? And then they move on to the orange, and then they move on to the red, and give them maybe 2 or 3 minutes to move through those. Okay, so again, making some more predictions. We've touched on this in earlier subjects, in earlier lessons. But thinking, okay, what might some of the the independent variables be when we're studying criminology? In other words, what are the factors that might influence criminal behavior? In their workbooks, right? So they've got 4 studies. They can find the link on the blog, and give them 20 minutes. You might find that's too long, but anyway, in groups of 4 or groups of however many you like, and they read the studies and try and find a conclusion. Try and draw a conclusion from the study. What you can do is just let them go for it. Well, what I do is I let them go for it, and then if I find they're struggling or they're writing some wrong answers, I bring them back to the board and I explain and go through it a little bit more clearly how to write a conclusion. And break it down, right? So looking at understanding that it's how the IV affects the DV and the results, right, is going to allow us to make a conclusion. And so I just give a couple of examples here from Loftus and Palmer and Bandura, and then you can let them go back and carry on with that activity. And then yeah, they can have a go at answering the guiding question, and there's a critical thinking extension. Now, just so you know, in later units, there's more of a variation of the check-in with the guiding questions. Might seem a little bit repetitive here in the beginning, but I do later in further units do try and mix up the formative check-in step with more than just answer the guiding question. But having said that, I do like the fact that I try and give my students at least 5 or 10 minutes just to sit and think and write. I'm not sure how often they get that practice at school, so I do like giving them that time. And so this may be a quick reflection task. They can go back and look at the key terms in their traffic lights at the beginning of the book and see how many new words they've learned. If they've got time, there's another page in the workbook where they try to write an example of each of the terms, and they can always do that at any time. There's also a crossword in the back of the workbook, so anytime you've got, if a student's got spare time or you need something for them to do, or they're bored, they can go to the crossword. Check in with the pace of the class. And then we move into causation. That's going to be the next lesson.